At the end of last year, we talked about why so many people felt off in 2025. Not burned out and not broken, just misaligned. What I want to sit with now is what happens after that realization. Because for a lot of people, something subtle has started to shift. Not overnight, not dramatically, but quietly. Things are beginning to come together.
Stay awakened, stay rooted in the rhythm, in truth.
Grace and peace, and welcome to Awakened and Rooted. As we step into 2026, I want to talk about something I've been noticing, not just in conversations, but in culture, music, and how people are moving through the world. It feels like a remember.
We start to remember piece by piece by piece, dream by dream by dream, truth by truth by truth. We begin to wake up. We notice the lies in the history books. We feel the low vibrations in the food. We see the mind control in the media. And we realize this isn't just about living a good life. This is about escaping a trap and helping others escape too. Because the moment you remember who you are, your energy shifts. You stop being a pawn. You start being a creator. And then that's when the system fears you most. So the question is, are you ready to remember?
Here's the truth nobody tells you. Humanity isn't waking up. We're remembering. There was a time when humans didn't outsource truth. No institutions, no middlemen, no permission needed to connect with source. Then came systems. Beliefs turned into rules. Wisdom turned into doctrine. And truth was placed outside of you. That wasn't evolution. That was amnesia. The great remembering is the return of inner authority. Not rebellion, not chaos, but remembrance of who you were before fear was installed. You don't feel crazy because the world is broken. You feel uncomfortable because the illusion is cracking. This is part one. Next, I'll show you when humanity first remembered and how it was taken from us.
This doesn't feel like a trend. It doesn't feel like rebellion. And it doesn't feel like people are going backwards. It feels like something ancient being revisited, not out of nostalgia, but out of resonance. Almost like the body, the heart, and the spirit are quietly agreeing on something again.
The way you bring your heart and mind into equal harmony with each other is to make sure that whatever it is that you believe isn't rooted in fear. Because we operate essentially on only two emotions, and that's fear and love. Any emotion you feel are derived from either fear or love. And we all know that fear is a very negative energy, and we can't operate on negative energy. It is not a soul fulfilling energy. You see, so a feeling is just a deep rooted belief, and it's a belief that we practiced over many years. subconsciously though, so it's not really your fault. And our beliefs, we got to make sure that they don't come from other people. Just because we see somebody operating one way and we've been taught to think this way doesn't mean that it's right. Be that black sheep and turn around. Go the other way. Mahatma Gandhi said, the majority is always wrong. So don't be scared to stand alone and to stand on what you know is right, your heart and mind. When you start to reprogram your subconscious mind based on intelligence and fucking wisdom, you will feel what is right. You will feel what is just. Because now it's subconscious. It's a subconscious feeling. The wisdom you built yourself on becomes second nature. It becomes subconscious. So essentially, to bring your heart and mind into equal harmony with each other is to make sure that whatever it is you believe are built upon the building blocks of wisdom. This is an interesting subject. I'm going to talk more about it in the future. Till then, protect your mind, protect your spirit, and as always, stay conscious.
I've been noticing young adults gravitating towards older music. Not because it's retro, but because it lands differently. Music with space, with breath, with emotion that doesn't rush to resolve itself. Vinyl records, soul music, jazz lyrics that take their time, music that doesn't demand attention. It keeps you company.
Hey, daydreamers. Music isn't just nostalgia, it's memory with emotion attached to it. One song can bring you back to a moment, a season, a person, sometimes before you're kind of ready for it. For me, it's Darcy the Dragon by Roger Whittaker. As soon as I hear that song, I am back in my childhood and Christmas has officially arrived. Not until after Santa has made his arrival at the Thanksgiving Day parade, but welcome to History We Missed, Special History Mass Edition, where we talk about the sounds and the feelings of the season. My parents are Christmas crazy. They had like 26 boxes of Christmas stuff. And my dad was very jovial about it. He didn't just enjoy it, he embodied it. He had a special hat he would wear when he would go shopping. It was not just a holiday, it was a full-on experience in my house. We didn't just have one tree. We had multiple trees in every room. Like, my mom had her Christmas village. One year, the main tree was fully flocked, the white and everything like that. And he even had it on a rotating Christmas tree stand. And he had to make sure that his Star Trek ornaments were on the tree. And since my dad died, Christmas hits harder. Because when someone carries that much joy for a season, their absence is felt everywhere, especially in the music. And now when I hear Roger Whittaker, it's comfort and grief at the same time. The warmth is still there. So is the reminder of who isn't standing there anymore, humming along, adjusting the lights. And that's the history we don't talk about. Music isn't just sound. It's how memory survives. It's how love echoes forward. Have a beautiful day. Bye.
And alongside that, I've noticed people loosening their grip on rigid belief systems, not abandoning faith, but questioning fear-based frameworks. People are saying things like, I believe in something, just not like that, or I still feel connected, just not controlled. This isn't rejection, it feels like recalibration. Before music was content, it was regulation. Before it was optimized, it was felt. Rhythm used to slow the body down, mellow carried grief, joy, and longing. Music didn't exist to be consumed quickly. It existed to be lived with. And it makes sense that people are returning to that now. When the nervous system has been overstimulated for years, it remembers what safety sounds like. This isn't nostalgia. It's the body recognizing coherence. Something else is happening at the same time. Many people aren't walking away from the Creator. They're walking away from fear, shame, and overperformance, from containers that taught obedience without intimacy. For some, the return to spirit isn't happening in pews or pulpits. It is happening in nature, in silence, in breath, in honesty. That doesn't mean structure is wrong. It means restriction is no longer sustainable. There's a difference between guidance and control. And many people are rediscovering relationship quietly.
Here's why I believe having a relationship with Christ is more important than being religious. Now, before anything, this is not to condemn or judge anybody. This is more so to just self-reflect on where you are in your current walk. I feel like it's common nowadays to hear people say, oh, I'm not very religious, or yeah, I believe in God, I believe in a higher power, whatever the case may be, but I'm not super religious. And I believe the Bible highlights the significance of having a relationship rather than being religious. There's many examples, one of which you can find in John chapter 14, verse 6, where Jesus himself says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. That verse specifically implies that there has to be some sort of relationship with Jesus in order to get to the Father. But there's another moment in the Gospels that really stood out to me. I read this the other day in the book of Luke, where there's a moment where Jesus crossed paths with this rich man. And this rich man asks Jesus, how can I make it to heaven, essentially? Jesus responds by asking him if he's followed a few commandments. The rich man comes back and says, I've done all these things, I'm good. And in response to that, Jesus then says, all right, now sell your possessions, everything you have, and follow me. And unfortunately, the rich man just couldn't do it, and he walked off. One may say that this man was more religious rather than being in a relationship, because ultimately, even though he followed a few commandments, when Jesus invited that relationship to him, he ended up turning it down. And I think that's the dangerous part with having a religious mindset. For example, I can look back on my life before I gave my life to Christ and definitely say that I was a lot more religious than I was in relationship with Christ. But the moment I gave my life to him, my heart transformed and my heart changed, my mind changed. And because I was in relationship with Christ, I knew that the old things that I used to hang on to were due, I couldn't do them anymore, because essentially I was being unfaithful in that relationship. The previous religious mindset I had was, oh, God is loving, God is forgiving, but I can still live in sin, and that's just not right. At the end of the day, the most important question we can ask ourselves and really reflect upon is, am I more religious, having a religious mindset, or am I really in relationship with Christ? Another reason I think having a religious mindset can get you in trouble is if you look at the people that betrayed Jesus. Essentially, the people who plotted to kill Jesus were people that were quote unquote religious. On the outside, they were religious people who knew the law. They were good people, but because they didn't have a true relationship with the Lord, their hearts were cold and bitter and evil, thus leading to them plotting and killing Jesus. Again, this isn't to condemn or judge anybody. This is for you and I to really reflect on where we're at in our life. I hope this blesses somebody, and as always, God bless you. I love you. Jesus loves you. Peace.
One of the clearest signs of this remembering is internal coherence. People are making decisions more slowly, but with less regret. The heart isn't fighting the mind as much. The body isn't bracing constantly. Alignment doesn't feel dramatic. It feels settled. It feels like fewer internal arguments, like moving with less force. This moment doesn't feel like a spiritual high. It feels grounded. Many spiritual traditions describe awakening not as learning something new, but as remembering what was always there. A return to rhythm, to presence, to truth that doesn't need defending. This remembering doesn't shout, it hums. If you've noticed yourself craving simplicity, pulling away from noise, feeling less interested in explaining yourself, choosing peace more often than performance, you're not withdrawing, you're integrating. And integration often looks quiet from the outside.
So here's another thing they don't tell you about spiritual awakening. No one tells you about the integration and the embodiment period. So I just did a video talking about dark night of the soul. And after your dark night of the soul, when you come out of that, bruised and battered and like barely surviving, you're supposed to understand the purpose of that season. So when you come out of the dark night of the soul, there are supposed to be lessons that you picked up during that, because the purpose of dark night of the soul and ego death is to have you shed the old you and move to the new you. And so you have to understand what those lessons are, and you have to understand what your new assignment is. So after you come out of the dark night of the soul, and then you rebalance yourself, and then you're okay and you're balanced, now you're supposed to sit back and think about the lessons, and then understand the lessons and understand the downloads that you got during that time. And as you are understanding those lessons, as you are understanding the new version of you and what you're supposed to be.
This year on Awakened and Rooted, we're not rushing language. We're honoring noticing. We're allowing understanding to arrive slowly without pressure. Awakening doesn't begin with answers. It begins with awareness. And remembering doesn't ask you to become someone new. It invites you back to what was already true. If things have started to feel like they're coming together, not perfectly, but meaningfully, you're not imagining it. Something is settling, something is aligning, and we'll take this year one quiet realization at a time.
This message is only going to be for a few people. 2026 is not the year to be playing it small. 2026 is not the year to be scared. 2026 is not the year to be operating from a lack mindset. 2026 is not the year to be lacking discipline. It's time for you to boss up. It's time for you to be the change that you want to see. It's time to give yourself a chance. What's standing between you and your dreams, you and your aspirations, is you. It's time to make better decisions, have a better mindset, and have discipline.
Before you head out, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your voice is part of the Rooted Collective. And if these videos are feeding your spirit and you feel led to pour back into the work, you can buy me a coffee. Just scan the QR code on the screen. Every bit of support helps me keep creating spiritually grounded content for our community. Grace and peace. Until next time, stay awakened, stay rooted, and I'll see you in the next video.